In conversation with Philip Martin. Philip Martin is a native of Nashville, Tennessee, and now resides in Ashburn, Virginia, a suburb of Washington, D.C. region. He has extensive experience in executive coaching and as a management consultant. His enthusiasm and passion are contagious as he helps organizations become more effective and the individuals comprising them to become more productive and more successful. From safe mentoring and training, leadership development, executive coaching, personal productivity, and organization effectiveness, Philip is a highly sought coach and trusted advisor to his client. He received his B.A. from Birmingham-Southern College in 1972 and his M.B.A. from the Owen School of Management at Vanderbilt University in 1974. Philip has 54 years of experience in the field of direct selling, coupled with a passion for helping individuals aspire to greater heights and accomplish their personal, avid, professional goal. Two other passions of Phillips are his love of Civil War history and his interest in leadership development. Philip and his wife Donna live in Belmont County Club with Tashi, their 3-year-old Tibetan Terry. Philip's other hobbies and interests include politics, country music, traveling, and entertainment. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today Philip Martin. How are you doing, Philip?
Doing wonderful, Peter. So wonderful to meet you. And thank you for inviting me to be a part of your very distinguished podcast program.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to have you on the show today. Pretty much interesting. We're going to be having a conversation around your works.
Yes, I look forward to it.
Yeah. Philip, could you tell us about your book, Tales from Tibet, Leadership Lessons for Young Lives? And I want to say that's such an amazing title for a book. And I'd love to ask you, how does this book come about? What inspired you to write Tales from Tibet?
So, Peter, before I get started, I want you to meet the star of the book. I'd like for all your listeners, they can say hello. This is Tashi, a 3-year-old.
Hello, Tashi.
Say hello. There's Peter along the way.
I hope it can hear us.
She can. She loves it.
She's not waving back, really. Tashi, no. How are you doing?
So wonderful. She loves this. And this 3-year-old, she has quite a following all over the world. And the book's already in about 26 countries. But Tashi's a little star. This is a 3-year-old Tibetan Terrier. And so she's the star of the book, but she wanted to say hello to everybody today. So
hello.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Tashi.
So yes, this is a copy of Tales from Tibet, Leadership Lessons for Young Lives. And the book, Peter, came about during the pandemic. We had a Tibetan Terrier named Sashi, and she was black and white. And so we had her, and she got sick, and the breed lives to about 19 years old, and but we lost her at 8 years old with lymphoma, and it was very difficult, and to lose her prematurely. I mean, death is a important part of life cycle, but to lose one prematurely when we were prepared for her sort of living many more years, then when she got sick and died pretty rapidly with lymphoma, it put me in a pretty sad place. And in the process, I'd had a friend of over 50 years who had followed me on Facebook, and he had written books himself, and he encouraged me to write a book about I have a love of leadership, as you said in the introduction. I love history. And he said, write it about your dog. And so he introduced me to a publisher, and I began, and I also hired a grief counselor during this process because I was in a pretty depressed state by losing her, and I was pretty sad. So in the process of my healing, I began to write down what Sashi had meant to me. And then we found Tashi very quickly. And because there's only about 800 of this particular breed of dog born a year. So there's like a waiting list, to get one. So we found one through a cancellation. We got Tashi. And about a month after Sashi had passed away, and it really helped fill the hole in my broken heart. And in the process, it dawned on me that what a little 8-week-old could learn would be like from an 8-year-old. And it made sense like what a child could learn from an older brother or sister. So that's the background of the book.
Wow, that's quite amazing, really. That sounds quite compelling to me. So thank you so much for sharing about the introduction to Tales from Tibet. Thank you so much. And now, Philip, for readers who haven't read the book yet, and of course, without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect in terms of themes picking up Tales from Tibet?
Yes. So, Peter, and for the rest of your listening audience, what occurs is little Tashi wonders where they come from, and she hears about a family tree. So she asks Sashi, the older one, what is a family tree? And a golden eagle flying overhead happens to hear them, and the eagle is magical, and the eagle swoops down and decides to take them to Tibet, where the Tibetan terrier comes from. And so they set out on the wings of this golden eagle. They fly to Tibet. And over the next 10 chapters, they encounter a lot of challenges and obstacles. And in the process, little Tashi is learning a lot of leadership principles that I believe a young boy and girl can learn. So it's really, she's learning from the eagle, and she's learning from her older sister Sashi how to be brave, how to solve problems, how to have courage, and it's lessons that I think a young boy or girl can learn, taught by the two dogs.
Wow, that's quite amazing, really. I love the sound of this book. I really love the sound of it. So thank you so much for sharing with us. And now I'd like to ask you, Philip, why do you choose to write in the genre of children's literature? What particularly piqued your interest in this theme and genre?
Thank you, Peter. Yes, my wife and I got married later in life, so we didn't really have children. We have a lot of children that we look after, and relatives and all that we take care of, and a lot of sort of extended family, but we didn't have children ourselves. But I began to think, when we got little Tashi, it reminded me of my years as a Boy Scout. So growing up in Nashville, Tennessee, as you said so beautifully in the introduction, being a Boy Scout was very important to me in my early development years. And it began to be a part of the book, because a lot of the principles and things that I learned as a Boy Scout paralleled what I thought the dogs could teach. So it's really loosely tied to the tenets of the Scout Law, the 12 points of the Scout Law, which is perseverance and a lot of the leadership traits that go along with that, or what unfolds in the 10 chapters of the book. So it is the background of being a Scout. It's beginning to think what I believe a young boy or girl could learn. And the age group, sort of the target audience for the book, is about 7 to 12 years old. So we've now seen hundreds and hundreds of copies. Since the book has been out about 8 months, we're seeing enough evidence that age group is really gaining a lot from the book.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love the reception it has had so far. That's an amazing turnout. Pretty much amazing to me. And now, Philip, let's talk about the challenges you've encountered, in the process of writing Tales from Tibet. If there is any, could you share with us what challenge it is and how you ultimately overcame it?
Thank you, Peter. Yes. This again was the first time I'd ever written a book. I'd been encouraged to write books on leadership and things in the past, but this idea came about in 2021, and I set out writing the book, and I was able to be picked up by a publisher through this friend of mine that I alluded to earlier. So Tremendous Life Books became my publisher, and I was honored to be a part of their organization.
Wow.
And in the process, I had written about 8 chapters, and I was so excited about sharing that with the editor and the staff at the publishing company. And they threw it all away. They said that it lacked adventure. They said, what you're teaching is very good, but the children won't read it. You've got to have their attention. So for your listening audience, those that have ever thought about writing a book, and a lot of people have, this one sent me back to the drawing board, so to speak, and I was able to start over again. And then I was able to, Donna's cousin shared with us an idea that she said maybe the 2 dogs could get on the wings of an eagle. And so that became the background of writing the book all over again, where the dogs actually go to Tibet. In the first version that I wrote, I had a chapter about the history of the breed and telling about Tibet and about that part of the world. But when I added the eagle into the book, the dogs actually fly to Tibet, so you get all of the scenery of them being in Tibet, but it required some patience on my part, which I'm not very good at. I'm trying to be better at learning to be more patient, but it did take some perseverance. So just like the little dogs learn about perseverance, for your listening audience, that was a challenge that I really needed to overcome to help sort of rework the book.
Wow. Wow. I love the sound of these challenges, and how you overcame it is quite fun to me. That's quite amazing to know. Yeah. Now, Philip, apart from Tales from Tibet, leadership lessons for young lives, do you have another works you've authored or maybe currently working on?
Well, it's a great question, Peter, and I've almost every day I get encouraged by someone to write a second book, and my publisher and others have wanted this to be a part of like a trilogy, to have a second and third book. So I've got some ideas for the second book, but I haven't really undertaken that yet. I've just been enjoying this first 8 months of really marketing the book and getting it out. It's got a tremendous following, so I've really been concentrating on the first book, and there is some interest that we will be unveiling a new item. So with illustrations that you'll notice in the book, there's 60 gorgeous watercolor illustrations that I was able to find an artist in Poland, a young woman that developed the 60 watercolor illustrations, and we're making a series of jigsaw puzzles of the illustrations. So there's already a lot of interest in that. So there'll probably be some other products that people can find at the Tashi Chronicles store. Will be a place that they can find other items. But that's now, there's just some interest in really getting this first book into the hands of a lot of people and enjoying that process.
Wow, that's amazing, really. I love your take on this. Thank you so much for sharing. And that sounds like an amazing work you've got going. And I hope that goes on successfully. Hopefully, when that is up, we'd love to have you back on the show. That would be fun, really.
I would love that.
Yeah. Now, Philip, is there anything that you'd love to share with the viewers about your book that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know? Also, I'd love to ask you, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for struggling writers? What would you advise people in this category? I've got 2 questions there.
Question first. Yeah, I'll take the second one first. For those of your audience that are they may not be struggling, but as I said a minute ago, that they might be interested in writing I just encourage them to try it just to get started. There's so many, there's a lot of software applications that help people record their thoughts so easily. There's ways that things can be transcribed so easily now. I mentioned also through this site Upwork is where I was able to find the illustrator. So I found a young woman in Poland that became the illustrator for the book. So there's a lot of resources now. So I would say years ago, people didn't have a lot of this as available to them. But now those that just have an idea just get started and work a little bit every day, and then before long you can really grow it into something. And that's what I did. It just takes a little discipline and some good time management. And we were able to put together a pretty good book and revise it and turned it into something that it launched in May of this year. And it's just been a pretty great run.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. I love the sound of it. And congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Now, Philip, would you like to read a short section of your book to the audience? It could be a favorite line, a favorite paragraph, or even your favorite page.
Thanks, Peter.
That would be fine.
I sure will.
If you would
Thank
love
you,
to.
Peter. Yes, I will. My favorite chapter, as I mentioned, the book, the dogs get on the wings of the eagle and they fly to Tibet. And this is the chapter that I like, really my favorite. And it's
beautiful illustration, really.
It's beautiful, beautiful illustration. So here are the two dogs. They're walking along and they encounter this stream. So it says, as the three companions, remember you've got the two dogs, Sashi and Tashi, and the eagle is overhead, flying over them. As the three companions continue their journey, they travel down the rocky terrain and come to a mountain stream directly in their path. The stream is vast and the water is moving quickly. They've come too far to turn back, and they need to continue this adventure so that they can hopefully find the lost valley of Tibet. Sashi looks around for the quickest way to cross. She starts out across the rocks, but the water is too deep and the current is too swift. Meanwhile, Tashi paces along the shore, looking for an alternative route. Sashi, come this way, exclaims Tashi, as she starts out across a down tree limb in the water. I think we can make it this way. Sashi calls out to Yeshi, that's the eagle flying overhead.
Yeah.
Scout out ahead and see if this is a good solution. This tree limb won't work, the eagle says. It only goes halfway across, but I see one further downstream that might work. So here she is falling in the water. And then they finally make it across, and here they make it across the stream, and they celebrate that they get on their way.
I love the fact that, there's a story embedded in every illustration. I love the fact that, as we're reading along, it's more like we're reading a story, and it keeps going on and on and on. So that's quite amazing to me, really. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And that's a great job you've done, really.
That one has sort of problem solving. It has perseverance. It has teamwork. It has disappointment, dealing with disappointment when she falls in the water and she's discouraged. So she has to learn how to get over it and get back and work on the task. And then they celebrate when they finally make it across the stream. They stop for a moment and celebrate. So all of those are very important lessons I think a young person can learn.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And now, Philip, in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of your book. On what platform is it available on for purchase?
Yes, Peter, it's available on Amazon. So a lot of people abroad, I know you've got a huge international audience. Yeah. So a lot of them can order through Amazon. They can also come to our site is TheTashiChronicles.com, and they can also order off the website. And if they come to the website, I'll sign it and personalize it and send it to them. So
Interesting.
that'll be through the TashiChronicles.com. It's another way
Yeah.
that they can get the book. It's available in hardbound, paperback, and an ebook. And we're also now working on an audio book. So that's
Oh,
the publishers just contacted me in the last couple of weeks and wants me to start recording an audio book.
wow. Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I left a link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Philip Martin's books directly on Amazon, on his website, and also on other platform. So thank you so much, Philip, for accepting the invitation to be featured on PA English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure as well.